conventions. And so in 2005 at Comic-Con is when I first started cosplaying officially, because that was a term. Didn't know it was a thing. As Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas, because I had won Best Makeup Design in a theater competition for it. So I'm like, yes, this is good enough. I can do this in public with thousands of people looking at me, and it was super fun. And I have never stopped, and that's why I'm an addict.
It's like turning into it.
It's Cosplay Anonymous. Yeah.
So back in 2005, so I've been doing this for a little over a decade. I wanted to be rogue for Halloween. And I didn't know cosplay was a thing either, and I just wanted to be rogue for Halloween. And back then you couldn't really buy the superhero suits on eBay like you can now, and so I was like, well, how do I make a bodysuit? You know, what? And I stumbled upon a X-Men cosplay forum, which is sadly no longer going on. But it was filled with wonderful people who taught me what I needed to do, the materials that I needed to buy, and then I was like, oh, this is a thing. And then my first convention ever was Dragon Con, so I kind of like dove right off the deep end there, and never looked back. I was like, oh, well, I made one of Rogue's costumes, now I'm going to make them all, and then I looked at all of her costumes, and some of them were horrible. So I abandoned that idea, and since then I've just been making costumes of characters that I love, and I've made like, I don't know, 60, 70, yeah. I make all my own costumes too.
She does. This is always a funny question because it's a good standard starter question for, how did you get into cosplay is a good first question. It's really hard to answer. Like if you dress up for Halloween, like a lot of us did, we were like the people who went all out for Halloween. Like that's the gateway drug, right? So I had a really elaborate Halloween costume of Guinevere from King Arthur one year. And so, then I started taking that to more events, and then I found out about Comic-Con. So, we sort of, a lot of us, I think, got into it very organically. Like, it's hard to have a definitive moment to tell you about in which I started, just because like a lot of cosplayers, have loved dressing up forever, since day one, out of the womb, dressing up.
I think that's sort of an interesting thing too, because I'm on the older side of the generation at the table here. But when cosplay started as cosplay, we called it costuming back in the day.
Right.
And it was because of the origins of the word cosplay were actually American, adopted by Japan, and then adopted back.
Right, it hadn't gone back yet.
There was, and for those of you who aren't familiar with the story, please anybody correct me because I drank a lot last night, and so I'm still like sweating vodka. The story, as I understand it, what happened is that we would, in the early Jethro Tull days, people would dress up in costumes and Star Trek cons.
Yeah.
You get the occasional Conan the Barbarian from the comics, lots of custom band people were really into it. And when they started doing costume contests, costume pageants, etc., in Japan they were already doing it, but they didn't know what to call it. And the problem was that the word pageant was not quite right, because that involved a lot of contest. And then the other word that they could have called it would have been masquerade. But masquerade traditionally has much more of a negative connotation. It implies that there's an attempt at subterfuge. So neither of the English words that we were currently using for what we called costuming worked real well. And so then they developed the word cosplay to describe what we were doing, and they're like, because we want to do this too because it's rad. So I was one of those kids that my first real Halloween, having come from hippie European parents, I decided that I wanted to be a witch for Halloween. And my mom's like, sure, because hippie European. And so I got the witch costume and said, now I'm going to go to school. And I got the, you can't be a witch, you're a boy. And so I've been fighting that fight since day one. And I think the first point in time, I think when where it evolved past the Halloween thing to actually cosplay and not just playing Batman in the yard with the friends, I think I was in high school in 1983.
Sorry, what was that?
I'm sorry?
Breakfast Club wasn't out yet. And that's probably about the time I really got started cosplaying. So, with respect to getting into the community, because this is 101, I would definitely like to talk about a little bit of the history of the hobby as we know it, but also more for the people who are getting into the hobby for the first time. When you first started, what were some of the assets, that helped you? What was like, okay, I'm going to do this, and of course we all kind of forged out on our own and found our own path. What were the things that helped you at first to really get you started? And now that you've been doing it for a while, what are some things that you would recommend to people who are getting in to kind of help avoid some of the speed bumps that you encounter?
Okay, me. Well, back when I first started in 2005, there weren't as many websites to really help you out. We had Cosplay.com, thank God. And it was anyone know Cosplay.com? Okay. Cosplay.com was great because you can go in there and check out different tutorials, but there were at the time still not a lot of tutorials, so I recommend going like on YouTube.
This was before YouTube.
This
was before
I
YouTube.
know,
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
YouTube was just starting out, it was just crawling as a baby.
Yeah.
But no, now it's flourished, it has so many other tutorials, like I'm learning how to make boots, like cobbler style, like you actually take a shoe last, you do the whole darn thing. Like having that kind of outlet is, you're able to expand your love of the hobby. And that's very important because you feel more fulfilled as a cosplayer. I mean, depending on what you're in cosplay. Like I'm in it because I love making costumes and sharing it with friends. I mean, not the costumes, but just sharing that love with friends. I just totally lost. I had to track what the question was. Yeah. So look up YouTube. We did not have that. Facebook's also a good one because you can go to certain cosplayers who actually post progress photos or tutorials in their work. Sometimes you can even ask the cosplayer. I've had hundreds of girls ask me how I made my Witchblade gauntlet, and I've responded like, okay, well here it is, it's on the RPF, here are all my progress photos, this is how you do it, sort of thing.
The RPF is the Replica Props
Oh, yes,
Forum,
sorry.
which is a really, really great forum, filled with very helpful people, very knowledgeable people.
Help me make this.
And they specialize
In
replica props
costumes.
and costumes, but really, really
They're on a
replica.
higher level
Really
than Cosplay.com, let's just say that, because
Right.
there are a lot of professionals who, especially in the early days of the RPF, there were a lot, it was professionals only that were allowed to go on there.
Right.
And a lot of them are still on there, but, like if you're a dye sub, like making dye sub costumes or something, they have a whole section for that. If you want to make armor, they have a whole section. If you want to make props, they have a whole section for that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to mention the RPF as well. It's definitely a good one. Internet tutorials, they're your best friend. Honestly, like anything you could think of, like I need to make a foam shield, everything you could possibly want is definitely be on the internet. For me personally, when I first started out, I had no idea even how to sew on a button, and I knew that I wanted to go into kind of fabric-based kind of construction. So what I did was I took like a $30 rec center sewing class, and literally we learned how to sew the straight line. Like I sewed a placemat. That was like my big project, placemat. So you kind of have to, you do have to put in the work because you can't just kind of, a lot of people come at me like, oh, I wish I could do what you do. I'm like, well, don't wish, kind of, take steps towards doing it. So I know that Joanne's offers classes, sewing classes, basic stuff, places, continuing education type stuff. Even internet tutorials, there's a lot of really, really good YouTube videos on how sewing basics.
Yeah.
And one thing I do recommend is that you kind of decide what type of fabrication you want to be doing, because that's going to change what resources you use. If you want to start kind of like armor fabrication, you want to start looking at people who do a lot of armor. Kamui Cosplay is somebody, she's a German cosplayer, and she does a lot of armor fabrication. She has several books on the subject. It's a really good resource as well.
So I always like to start off with trying to break down what the costume is, like piece by piece. Is this a shirt or is this a dress? are these pants or are these leggings or is it spandex or are there no pants involved at all? Because superheroes don't like to wear pants. So when I first started going out to cosplay, like my first one was Sally, and she wears a dress that is made out of rags that are really sloppily sewn together. So I went, all right, I'm going to get an ill-fitting dress at Goodwill, and then I'm going to sloppily sew on scraps of fabric from the little scrap bin. And if that doesn't work really well, maybe, you know what, I don't have time for this, I'm going to fabric glue it on. And some of those pieces were fabric glued on, and they worked great for the time that I needed them to do. And from there, you can just progress, and I like to, if I can, spend the least amount of money on my cosplays. Which, sometimes that means go to a thrift store, get a base for it, and usually that'll be like $2, $3. Whereas if you went and bought the fabric for it, fabric can run $10, $15, $20 a yard, depending on what you're getting. And then you're putting the time in for it to sew the project, whatever you want, if it's like a basic top. And then you're looking at a long process. You can feel really validated after you finish something completely from nothing. But it's also fun to start with something too, and it can be a little bit cheaper. And when you're trying to costume on a budget, which a lot of people are doing when you're first starting off, because you're not sure of your skills, that's totally fine. Like I did this with a shirt that I got off of Amazon for $10 instead of buying a yard of $10 spandex. Like it's up to you what you prefer.
And cosplay more expensive than drugs.
Yes. Accurate. Again, cosplay anonymous, we're not ashamed.
So yeah, back in 2005, there wasn't YouTube to depend on. There really wasn't. I don't even think cosplay was really quite used as a word quite yet.
It was trial and error, really.
So yeah, thankfully there was a forum that I found that really helped me out. I kind of, as I usually do, I jumped off the deep end right away in making a bodysuit out of spandex. Spandex is somewhat of a difficult material to work with. Yeah, but because I kind of dove off the deep end, I'm very proficient in working with spandex now, which is a positive. But thankfully I had a lot of people to help me out in 2005. And besides that, it was trial and error. And I always really encourage people to try it out. Just go for it. Just really if you have an idea, try it out. And if it works, awesome. But if it doesn't, maybe have a plan B, a plan C. But I usually fly by the seat of my pants and trial and error. Thankfully, YouTube is around now, and a lot of great cosplayers put up tutorials. So you can depend upon that to look those things up nowadays. There's also Twitch is starting a creative channel, which is live streaming creating, and it's artists, and I'm going to start streaming my work, and it's great because you can chat with people, and people can ask questions, and you can answer as you're working, and so that's really neat. And I've done a couple Twitch streams already, and people have asked me questions, I've answered, so that's also a great way to find out how to do things.
Yeah. So I'm kind of on the flip side of the coin of just go for it, just try it out. So it depends on your personality. I love that. Some of us are not comfortable enough to just go out there and start immediately. So if you're a person like me who prefers to do a lot of research and really feel comfortable before they jump in, it's a personality thing, really.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad if that's your personality type. I spent 4 years doing nothing but reading about Lord of the Rings costumes. Not making anything. Alley Cat Scratch was a thing back then, that was back in the day. Also, we're such old fogies. Oh my gosh. So if you're kind of more of that personality and you like to just sit at the computer and really do your research, that is also a great place to start. find a cosplayer or two that you really like. So one of my original favorite cosplayers was Belcher.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm full disclosure. I used to like stalk your Flickr page or like your internet.
Oh,
yeah,
Flickr.
Flickr, right. And if you look at enough costumes, like if you really sort of are studying them with an eye for like how is this made, you will start to see over time. Like you'll start to understand patterns and like see where things have been sewn or where they've been, sculpted or so I'm a big sort of proponent of online forums, the Replica Pop forum. I was also on the superhero costuming forum.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, tutorials online. There's lots of blogs for this sort of thing, and like you can get lost down the rabbit hole, but it's really fun.
Yeah.
Especially with your friends.
Yeah.
If you
Cosplay's great to meet
So
people.
embrace.
Yeah.
Stitch and bitches.
Stitch and bitches.
Yeah. That's what we call them. It's stitches.
Stitch. That's what I do.
Stitch and cry. Sometimes you just cry, but it helps because sometimes it takes a pair of fresh eyes to look at a project and go, oh, this is what you need to do. And you're like, oh,
Yeah, that's
of
true.
course it is.
Because we all have
So
slightly
you
different
stare at a
skills.
project.
So
You get lost in it.
while I totally agree that research is really, really important, but you got to be careful to not get into the I'm researching so much and I'm not creating. You do have to jump off the diving board eventually. You do have to start, because I've been guilty of researching so much that I'm not creating. And then you're not actually learning from doing hands-on things. And so you do have to take the leap eventually.
All right, listen to her.
Well, no. Listen to both, take everyone.
It is.
Find your own space.
You will find your own balance between those things. Yeah, some people don't do any research, they just dive in. Some people like me do probably too much. Yeah, no, and you will find your happy place with that, for sure.
Yeah, depends on your
great-
personality, like
yeah.
you said.
And it's great having friends that have all these different skills. So like if you studied something until your eyeballs are falling out and you still don't know how it's made, like you will be able to find somebody, talk to us, like message me, somebody will be able to help you out with that. So there is a point where you can hit a wall where you don't understand what it is that you need to do next. But that's the great thing about having a cosplay community. Is that there's always somebody to turn to who can help you get past that.
And like Jackie mentioned, there are people who have specialties. I would not consider myself an armor specialist at all. And there are people who are that's what they do. They make armor, and so that's what they really know. I know spandex really well. I know bodysuits. I know superhero costumes. So yeah, you can go to a cosplayer like, oh, they make a lot of armor. I would like to make armor. Let's ask them. It's very difficult to be a master of trades in cosplay. It's not impossible. I would not ever say it's impossible, but it's difficult to be a multi-craft.
There is an endless amount of information to learn. Like, don't feel bad if you feel like, oh, I don't know enough. Like, none of us know enough.
And actually, I mean, I can't speak for everybody else, but I mean, I did not start out great. If you saw my first costume, I spent, I think, $1,500 on my Princess Zelda costume, figuring out how to make the armor and everything, and it looked like looking at it, it's like, oh my god, I've gone a long way.
Yeah.
And so the last time I made my Zelda costume, it was only like several $100s. And so you learn where to save money, you learn how to not take up as much time. It also took me like 6 months to make my first Zelda costume. And then when I was done with my last Zelda costume, it took me about 3 months. So, I mean, you get better at your craft. So if your first costume isn't completely great, or even to your own standards, don't worry, you're going to get better.
Don't get frustrated with yourself.
Yeah, don't let that discourage you. Because I know it discouraged me for a little while. But then it's like, okay, nope, get back on the horse, get better at it.
I think we've all done it.
Yeah.
I mean, no one starts off amazingly great. That's the thing.
The very fact that you want to make something is amazing. Like, the very fact that you finished something and you completed it, should be a great feeling.
And also, I probably forgot to mention this too. Let's say if you're not really good at armor, but you have a friend that is, and that said friend is not good at, say, making a skirt. You can also spandex suit or something.
Yeah.
That was
And
one of the
people do
big
it all the time.
Yeah.
like between the analog days when if you were into something, you went to like Starlog or Fangoria magazine and looked at the personal section, and there's there's a little tiny square at the bottom. Hello, my name's Nigel Throckmorton and I'm from Leeds. Do you like Babylon 5? I do. Post me for pictures. And then like you mail this to this kid, and like 6 months later you get these photos, and it's like, oh, ooh, I could build them, And that's what it was like. And now with the internet, you say, oh, well, I'm into Star Trek, I'm into Judge Dredd, I'm into superheroes, and you get these Facebook groups, for example, and I'll use the Dredd community because it's something that I've gone through this process. Guys are like, hey, I'm going to make the leathers, I'm going to make the armor, I'm going to make the smoke grenades, I'm going to make the helmet. And then out of the blue, we get this guy going, oh, hi, my name's, I think it was Michael. He's like, I actually worked on the set. Here's the paint colors we used, and here's the places we sourced the leather, and here's the places that we got the carbon fiber. And same thing with the Battlestar Galactica uniforms. We literally got the invoice of, oh yeah, we ordered all this stuff from these people, go get it. And so, because of the accessibility of people who are actually in the industry, who will be like, I wonder, who's stocking my stuff, they'll find these groups, and then you'll start getting information firsthand from people in the industry to be able to go and do the replications at that level.
Right.
Or to say, hey, I found this perfect spandex for the new Superman because it's got the grid pattern, it's available here, we can Alibaba a roll as a community because it's a 200-yard minimum.
Yeah.
So a lot of that trading, a lot of that collaboration, a lot of that sort of communal, I'll make a part, you make a part, and then we'll all come together for an integral whole. And that's one of the things that I think is really kind of the coolest thing too, is that you get these cases where you meet people online through these, hey, I'm going to be in the Star Trek group, and there's this guy who's making the Killer Bajoran headpiece or whatever, and then like 5-6 years later you meet him at a con and you're like, oh my god, you're Death Destroyer 427, dude. And that's that whole getting to meet the people that you've known online in real life at the cons is great.
I just met someone, I've been following her work for about 5 years now, and I just met her in person yesterday, and it was great, and we hugged, and it was great.
We all fan over each other, fangirl, fanboy. That is the really beautiful thing for me about this hobby. It comes down to the people that you're doing it with. People, whether they're online or whether they're in person or both.
I've made so many great friends.
Beautiful.
And the only trouble is friends with these lovely ladies. I'm from Boston, they're from San Francisco. We only get to see each other once or twice a year. But
yeah. But we have, we have Facebook and everything.
But we'll scream at each other on Facebook or Instagram.
But like what Andres was saying, you might notice a lot of Game of Thrones costumes out there, and that's because the costume designers really put all the information out there online. I know the woman who makes the Daenerys costumes, she's got this wonderful tutorial online about how to create that dragon scale look on a lot of Daenerys' dresses. So professionals are wonderful people who are willing to share their work with us crazies.
It's great that there's that that costume designers and other people are now aware of cosplay as a thing, that this exists, and that we're all huge fans of their work. And I love how that's all sort of, they've started coming to us.
Now pattern, Simplicity is putting out cosplay patterns.
So this is a great time to start.
It really
There's
is
so
great.
much, there's so many resources.
Yeah, we were dragged into there, so you're welcome.
We have to split up
We
through
created
different
this-
patterns.
Yeah.
Okay, this one has
You usually
a
have
skirt, and then I need to get this bodysuit from this one, and then we're gonna. Yeah, but now it's you can make a Sailor Fuku to be a Sailor Moon outfit on a Simplicity pattern, literally for a Sailor Moon character.
Yeah.
I actually feel kind of bad I had it so easy because I kind of started doing all this in 2011, so all of this was kind of available to me. And I keep hearing about the struggles, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
We're describing.
I feel bad for being a privileged cosplayer.
It's good.
Check your
There's an interesting quality edge there too, especially for a lot of the people that do movies or television reproductions, where we have this idea in our head, and we're watching the movie and we're like, oh my god, there's this great thing and I'm going to make it. And then we go home and we make it and we're like, this has to do this and this has to do that. And as cosplayers who have been cosplaying for a while, we're thinking, and I'm going to come into a hot, sweaty dungeon of a room. And I'm going to be
in
walking
Atlanta.
Yeah, right. Making my own cheese. And there's like all these places where we're going to have to walk through 70,000 people, and the shoes have to be comfortable, and the parts have to fit, and I have to be able to retract the wings. And then we'll get in contact with somebody who's actually in the industry where we can, we've got an original coming, we can check our work, and it's like, it's bad, it's a POS. It was like made in 35 minutes, it's screen accurate at 50 feet away, you know, and the stuff that we've made is actually better in quality and construction because of the needs of having to have it on all day and transport it and all that other stuff, where there is that edge. And I don't want to discourage, and I know I've dropped this a couple of times and I want to clarify that. I'm talking about trying to hit that level of accuracy, trying to research the $75 a yard fabric, which was the exact thing that they used in Game of Thrones or whatever.
Right.
I don't want that philosophy that I was talking about to discourage getting close, working within your means, making your suit 1.0, you know. Everybody has a different level that they operate at, and I always want to encourage people to say, hey, just because yours isn't this, relax your feeling and open universe. You know, make what you want, make it yours, tweak it if you want to, operate at a level that you're comfortable, because I know a lot of people, they don't even try. And like what you were saying earlier, I've produced something. I came up with this concept, I studied it, I built it, I finished it. And you make it to a point like what you were saying about the Zelda costume, where you look back at it 15 years later and you're like, oh my God, I created a monster. And then Zelda 2.5 and 3.0 and da-da-da are going to be better iterations. So don't let the availability of items or production materials or costs or your skill set prevent you from going in and dipping your toe in that water.
Yeah, just like Silver said, thrift store cosplay. It is, you don't even have to make everything yourself to be considered a cosplayer. You can thrift store cosplay and just, you know, pop paint and whatever you want. And the whole purpose of cosplay is costume play. It's to have fun. It's to meet like-minded people who love the same thing and will you can geek out together. Oh my gosh, you love X-Men, I love X-Men too, and make friends. And, yeah.
I think it's important not to get caught up in the idea of perfection, because you can spend forever chasing after that. I mean, like I spend a lot of time on this, but even so, like I posted, I'm super proud of it, I'm so excited, and somebody goes, you know, those little D-rings are actually black.
Oh.
I'm like,
Oh yeah.
well, when you make yours, you
Yeah.
make it.
Mine aren't black because I'm sure of the universe.
Exactly. Like there's always going to be something, and I kind of like a good enough cosplayer. I'm like, oh, it's got the essence of the character, you know. Like I'm not too concerned with. I'll change designs so that it fits my body type, you know. Like the accuracy doesn't concern me so much, because I think that once you do go for accuracy, people can find inaccuracies. Yeah. So that's why personally I try not to keep it too accurate.
But if you sort of already interpreted it, then
then I'm like, well, it's my design
it's your
anyway.
own. Yeah, there's definitely a great spectrum there, like from the people who need it to be 100% accurate to the people who, pick something up at a thrift store and they're totally rocking it. And that's the great thing is like, again, depending on your personality, what you prefer, like how much time you have, how much money you have, you can go anywhere on that spectrum. And that's really fun. Like, you know, I even have costumes that are, some of which, I have costumes that are really inaccurate but look good on me. And then I have costumes that are really accurate, like it just, and then I put, you know,
And
hundreds
still
of
look good on
hours
you.
into
And still look good on you.
Yes. All right. But so even within your own wardrobe, you can have different levels of that. You know, like it's all accessible. It's all valid.
And characterization is a big thing. And
Yes.
we talk so much about the stuff that we do on the outside. We don't
Yep.
talk a lot about what we do on the inside. And if you've got that characterization, it can sell a costume where you for various reasons, you know, have taken some liberty. The first time I actually met Tallest in person
We're all
was
like
at
the tallest.
friend of mine's birthday party, and she shows up in her Ariel cosplay, and I'm like, oh my God, she's a damn great. That's just, it was so
She's like, I'm
good.
okay
It
with
was
that.
so good. And it was like, it wasn't like the super duper Disney crazy $60 billion outfit. It was the comfy because we're gonna watch a movie as a family version. But she sold that character so much. And I always try to tell people, you know, I think watching Galaxy Quest is a good example of how you differentiate the cosplayers. Because the cosplayers are like, boy, I'm sure in a costume. And how can you, you know, and the last time we did this sort of a panel at Big Wow, we got kids up in the audience and we said, okay, you know, bunch of 6 to 9-year-olds, how does Superman stand? Everybody does what he right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, now show me the Joker, all right? And then what's the Riddler like, you know? And so when, think about it, you know, and we do this thing in the professional industry called finding your one, which is, okay, you put on your outfit. Now, as soon as you step out of your hotel room, you're not you anymore, you're this character. How do you walk? How do you stand? What is that thing on you that you focus, that you say, I've changed gears now, and I'm now selling this character, the way I walk, the way I eat my tater tots, the way I do whatever I do. How is this person going to do this different from me? And every now and then, like, you'll see these guys, and it's like, you went to this thrift shop, you got a Trilby, a members only jacket, and a pair of slacks, and it's like, oh my God, that guy is Walter White. You know? and so for something that's like, and this guy back here in the leather hat, when Jeff was up here earlier, I'm like, is he cosplaying Cavill or not? Because it's really good. And it's just like, you've got this swerve that is so palpable that people are like going, oh my God, there's something going on here. I want to watch these people.
That's where like the addiction comes in.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like the moment when you step out of the hotel room, you got everything on, and you were like starting to mentally become that character, which you can't even help sometimes. Like when you're wearing the costume, you have to.
You know what
It's
helps?
so addictive.
Epic capes.
Heck yeah.
Sorry, Annabelle. Capes are amazing.
Yeah, when like a cape is billowing behind you as you're walking, you're like, oh yes.
And there's an adrenaline rush of being out like at a convention, and it's addictive. It's great. But do it.
But to help you get in character, again, research. Reference photos, watching the TV show, watching the movie, you know, like, and posing in a mirror. Like, look
Yes,
at
like,
yourself,
do
look at
it.
your, yeah, you're gonna feel silly,
Big faces.
but people will want to take your picture in costumes. It's gonna happen.
Be pretty.
And be ready for it, and if you like strike a pose, people will be like, oh yes! And that will make the photo, and then people will probably see the photo online and be like, whoa, they really nailed that character. And
Which totally reminds me of something I was telling Meta last night. There was a cosplayer last night as Matt the radar technician from that SNL skit. And, here's where it elevated it for me. Because I went up to him as Poison Ivy and I said, so Matt, I heard Kylo Ren is really shredded. Right? And that's his thing. Like, Kylo Ren is totally shredded. He has like an 8-pack. It's like, yeah, he's not as shredded as me. And he opens up his flight suit. No, it gets better. It gets better. He had one of those fake plastic muscle shirts. That was an 8-pack. And he was like, oh! Sealed deal. Like, that is commitment. It's wonderful. And it's just those little details where people have fun with it, and you pose with it, or you walk like the character. Like when we did our photo shoot in Piedmont Cemetery when I was Sally, I walk like Sally. She
It's
has
really
this
disturbing.
weird, disjointed movement. And when I first did it at Comic-Con, a couple of guys would watch me walk past, and my mother overheard them go, oh my God, she even walks like Sally. She's so hot. And another guy was like, dude, she's dead. Right? But those little details, one, you have fun with it, and that's really important. And then other people have fun with it too, because watching that kind of stuff, it's fun. It's like you're at Disneyland, right? You get to interact with your favorite characters too.
and exactly. What will help encourage you be part of the character is to be a character you love. Is to be the character that you identify with, to be the one that you admire for some particular reason. or that makes you feel a certain way, like that will always help you be that character. I've made one costume where I made it because someone else wanted me to make it, and then I put it on, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not Jean Grey. I'm not Jean Grey. And it was just, I felt awkward in it the whole time. But be a character that you love.
Plus, you're going to be spending a lot of money, or some money, and a lot of time, and a lot of energy.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. You guys have like a long thing going.
Oh,
Sorry, I realized.
Yep.
I just wanted to mention, because it's amazing that you guys are kind of actresses and really throw yourself in the role, but for me personally, I don't stay in character.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm not that person. I just don't. But when somebody asks for a photo, like what you were saying with the mirror thing, like pick like 3 poses that you can just go bam, 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 and like knock them out. Because if you pick like my first convention, I just did this the whole time. I'm like, and then when I got every single photo back, they all looked the same. So it's nice when somebody can come up to you and be like, hey, can you picture me? You can be like, bam, 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 and then you have you have variety. But again, like don't feel badly if you're not in character the whole time, or if you're not. It's amazing people who do that. Like and like you said, like you stop and you're like, wow, that's really cool. But don't feel badly if you don't.
Right.
It's just kind of fun.
Yeah, totally. I also wanted to mention, don't feel badly if you, like, purchasing costumes is absolutely A-okay. There are so many prefab costumes out there that are really, really good, and I've seen people buy them and alter them, or I've seen people buy them and wear them as they are. Like, there is nothing wrong with purchasing them, and it doesn't make you any less of a costumer or a cosplayer.
Right. There's so many variations to the way that you can go about this hobby and experience it and act in costume, and it's great. Like that's all people, like all kinds of people do this hobby partly because of it.
Everyone brings something new to it.
Yeah, I would not really have much of a job if people didn't buy costumes. So yes, please buy costumes. I'm fortunate enough to have turned my passion into my job. So yes, finish your costumes, support other artists. Yeah. Or
Buy a
eBay.
costume from
Or
the home
eBay.
store and rock it. Like
Yeah.
you want to. It can be really, really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what this is about.
Yeah.
Fun.
There's no wrong way to cosplay. It's like the best
Terrible
battleground
time.
out there.
Yeah.
It's just, you know.
Yes, there's no wrong way.
There is no wrong way. It's daunting to get your foot in the door. I mean, I don't know how you did Dragon Con first. I'd have hung myself with my
Big con.
shoelaces. I mean, that's right. Here's 70,000 people in a hot sweaty
I
hotel.
didn't know what I was doing.
I had gated guides.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was overwhelming. I didn't expect to have pictures taken of me, and then like picture, oh my gosh, it made me feel like a supermodel or something. A rock star, yeah.
So we got about 17 some odd minutes left. Do we want to open up for questions?
Why don't we, there was something that I wanted to talk about.
For sure.
Well, for photos and everything, make sure you do know how to pose, because if you're in a revealing costume, such as people in here, there are certain angles that you want to avoid. And there are certain angles, like not even just from you, from your perspective, but maybe from the photographer's perspective. Like, okay, so they're kind of going in at a low angle. I don't look good at that angle.
Yep.
So take in, I know there's the whole mirror thing, but that's, you're only getting one perspective. Having your camera, a phone, or any kind of camera on timer, and just setting it up at different angles, and just kind of teaching yourself and memory, muscle memory your poses is very helpful, and it can save you a lot of embarrassment too. Because there unfortunately are some creepers out there that will try to take goofy shots, the very inappropriate shots and everything. And sometimes you don't catch it because they're going at a weird angle and you don't know what that's going to take of you. So just sort of keeping, it's kind of like protecting yourself, but also keeping your costume as valued as possible too, because I mean, the whole point of wearing the costume is so you have fun in it and people enjoy your work and everything. And if someone's going to ruin that for you, whether on purpose or by accident, you want to be prepared for it. Just saying. If you like the bad angles, it's all good. But some people, like myself, who is known for wearing next to nothing, which blade built this costume, and later Theotoris. Yeah, careful, just saying.
Yeah, be aware of the space around yourself at conventions, and it's just good practice in the crowd and photographers and everything.
Yes. So, okay, so, now,
Well, sometimes the most revealing or not sometimes, all the time, the most revealing costumes should be the most well-crafted costumes, because you don't
You do not want
want
a
any
malfunction.
malfunctions.
Yeah. Test runs, that's
Yeah.
really important. Like,
Yeah.
I've waited,
Oh,
so many
yes.
times I've waited till the night before, and I didn't try it on, and in the morning I realized that everything's falling apart, and oh, this is hanging down here, and this is doing this, so give yourself time, give yourself a test run, walk around, wear it, make sure that, nothing falls off, or that everything stays where it's supposed to stay.
And breaking your shoes.
Yes.
if your shoes are breaking, take some sandpaper and just sand it as much as you can. If you sand the insides of your shoes. Oh, you didn't know? Oh, yeah, that's what I do. And so just sand the insides of your shoes, and that should actually help stress the fibers in that way. They break themselves in faster at least. So that's a little tip. I'm excited today.
I know.
You learned something.
And always stay hydrated.
Hail hydrate.
They'll hydrate.
And alcohol is not hydrating yourself.
Nor is coffee.
Nor is
Nor is
coffee.
coffee.
And just another tip, if you're wearing any kind of prosthetic, anything that needs to be glued to your body, do not drink alcohol the night before within 24 hours because it will not stay. You will be sweating your alcohol the next day. And I've learned from personal experience that is not a good thing to do. Thank you, Dragon Con. I have learned so well. It's a drinking con, come on. And in Witchblade, and in the, 102, 100% humidity heat,
Yeah.
that will peel right off. The fall just peels off. But there are lots of things that you'll come to find out through your own little adventure.
It's useful to have an emergency kit with you.
Yes. And if you are wearing any kind of costume that you can't just walk around easily in,
Yeah.
have a handler. Like, I have to have a handler in this costume because I've had figures in the past broke my butt, and that's not cool.
Cosplay is not consent.
And that's very true. But if you have a handler, in my personal experience, that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't, because it's like, oh, well, there's someone right there. You can grab him or her. I mean, I've been sexually harassed by both girls and men.
Yeah.
So
Even going around with friends can be great. Like that's the great thing, even about like having a pack of girlfriends, is that we all watch out for each other.
and guys are more scared of girls in packs anyway. So
We fight dirty.
We should do questions.
Oh
Yeah, we got-
sorry.
we only got-
Sorry, question.
Questions?
We'll bring.
What about storage, like after you're done with the costume?
Ooh. I use plastic storage bins, and I got one of those big wire racks, and I just stack them in there.
Individually costumes? Like
I usually stack it as full as I possibly can, honestly.
if you also have like a vacuum sealer, you can put any of your floating cosplays inside it and vacuum seal it. Like it'll take out all the air, and then you can just sort of stack them. It
Just
takes
for the
up
label
levels.
everything.
Yeah, make sure you label everything so you know where everything is.
I like to put a piece of paper at the top of the box that lists like everything that's inside the box so that I know immediately and I don't have to dig.
Yeah, if you have a list for every costume, like this piece, this, it will be easier for you to grab it when it's time to go to the con.
Right now, just like one bit.
Well,
Yeah.
Cable, Joker.
The more stuff you have, the more you'll need to organize it. There's certain things which are annoying, which can't be like vacuum sealed or put in a box, like a fancy wig.
Oh,
Yes, yeah, right.
Yeah, like
So like then you have to have something to drape it on, a head to put it on. But for the most part, yeah, the plastic bin system, man, a lot of us do.
Do a lot of the parts in, parts out system too, because it's like, hey, I just drove 650 miles to a con or flew across the country to a con, and you're like going, where's my Dr. X belt? You know, and so when you're doing the single bin or the managed bin system, then you know it's like, you know, when you open it up, you're like shoes up to head, all the parts are in there, and you're not going to be freaking out the night before con digging for something that went AWOL, because that's happened to all of us.
yeah.
Have any of you ever recycled pieces from one costume
Oh,
to
yeah.
make
Oh, yeah.
another? When
Yeah. Especially wigs. I've worn The same red wig for Red Sonja, Batwoman, Dawn, Madeline Pryor, you know, yeah, especially wigs and shoes.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about more things that you made for one costume that you turned out not to be so happy with.
Oh, and then you sort of remade
Salvage
into
work.
something else. Yeah.
So if it doesn't,
I kind of did that. For my Batwoman cosplay that I did, the zipper was in the back, and then when Iron Man 2 came out and Black Widow was in it, I was like, I'm going to dress up like Black Widow for the midnight showings, why not? So I just literally turned my Batwoman costume around. She has a zipper in the front, Black Widow does. So it was just a quick, like, I got a little rounded belt from Ross. I just threw it together for the midnight showing. But if I moved my hair, you would see this big red bat symbol on the back. So in that way, I kind of repurposed it. But for the most part, I wear them to die.
Yep.
I mean, there will be times when you start to make a piece and it won't turn out the way you envisioned it, and you will just sort of decide to abandon it. And I've definitely taken the fabric from something that was unfinished and made it into a new piece. So definitely.
We got time for one more.
Yeah, so I'd like to hear from all of you if I can. How long was it a hobby before you decided that it was something that you wanted to pursue farther? You know, because first everyone's going to be looking
For most of it, it's just a hobby.
It's still a hobby.
Like for me, I make costumes. I don't consider myself a professional cosplayer. Because I don't make money cosplaying. I make money making costumes.
Well, that's why I said
Like
before you really wanted to move forward.
Well,
obviously you're still.
Me personally, I needed to get enough experience under my belt, and since I'm like 80% self-taught, I, 7, 8 years before I started actually selling my materials, that's when I felt good enough to do that.
I think Alex is probably the one that is sort of the most
Oh, yeah.
on
For
that
me,
level.
I don't think I'm comfortable saying that it's just a hobby anymore because it is my primary source of income. A lot of people wonder, how can you turn it into an income-based kind of thing? For me, it's not necessarily the cosplay portion that's part of the income because I don't do commissions at all. For me, it's the modeling portion. So I sell photo prints, I do YouTube. When you run advertisements, they pay you from that. I'm starting a website, which will be subscription-based, and it'll have exclusive photo set each month. So I'm and to answer your question where that came from, it completely started out with the costuming aspect. I was not comfortable modeling as just me. I was only comfortable modeling as a character. But eventually, as my confidence grew with cosplay, I sort of started doing more lingerie type modeling and other stuff. And once my numbers started kind of taking off from that, I knew that it was something that I wanted to pursue further. So.
I'm the exact opposite of that spectrum because nobody wants to look at a balding middle-aged guy. So it was about, for me, it was about 25 years before I'm like, oh, hey, people might want to buy my stuff. And a lot of that, no matter what you're doing, is creating your brand identity. You have to get to a point where people will recognize you, and somebody out there will go, hey, they make good stuff, they ship on time, they communicate well. Everything that you see on eBay with people buying and selling on eBay and Etsy and all that stuff, multiply that times 10,000, because in the cosplay community, you ship something late, you ship something bad quality, you rip somebody off for money, everybody's got a horror story, and so you want to make extra sure that you're not that person, and that you've got a real strong community around you that will vouch for you, and that you're conscientious of your own brand to maintain that.
That said, if you are going to buy a costume from someone else, do your research on who you're buying from before putting money into it.
So we just got the high sign, folks, so
Okay.
Thank you all very much for coming.
Thank you.